everyone. Good Sunday morning. Chris McDonald, the Mac Files on a September the 25th, 2016. Mac Files broadcast number 14. We're so glad to have you on this Sunday morning, and we're just tickled pink as we are waking up to a grand story, which we'll get to in a minute. I just wanted to play our Rocky Top theme song as our Tennessee Vols roared back last night and beat the Florida Gators by a score of 38-28, and we are tickled pink about that, and we're so glad to hear, what is that I'm hearing in Gainesville? Oh, that's right, that's silence this morning. Best sound ever in the world coming from Gainesville when we have silence. And yes, we have a little bit of, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, it's hatred. It is hatred for the Florida Gators, and we've had that going back a long way. And anytime somebody beats Florida, we do a happy dance, especially when it's our Tennessee Vols. We want to open a broadcast this morning, though, on a more solemn note, and our hearts are very heavy this morning. News coming out of Miami, and I want to put his picture up right here. And for those of you that follow baseball, and even if you don't follow baseball, this story is very tragic this morning. Jose Fernandez, who was probably one of the brightest stars of Major League Baseball, to be honest with you, probably destined for the Hall of Fame if he had stayed healthy, had that kind of stuff. He was yes, he had a few growing pains there first few years with some things he did off the field and on the field, but he had really matured this year. Was pitching for the Marlins under Coach Don Mattingly. News came down the pike this morning in the pre-dawn hours. Him and some friends were out boating off the coast of Miami early this morning. Had a boat accident, hit some rocks. None of them survived, including Jose Fernandez. The Marlins were playing the Braves last night. They beat the Braves 6-4, but they announced today that today's game would be canceled, and they will be a team in mourning today, as will all of Major League Baseball. And I think a lot of us out here, look, sports is a competitive thing. We love rooting against teams. We don't like seeing the Marlins beat the Braves, but this becomes way beyond sports. When players are hurt and killed and bad things happen to those involved, we forget who we're rooting for and against. We're all Florida Marlin fans this morning, and pardon my emotion, but this is a very tragic loss for the family and his family, for the Marlin family. And I think, again, for all of Major League Baseball today and baseball fans in general, because those who recognize this kid's talent understand the loss. But it just, again, is another reminder of how short life is. And we wanted to start our broadcast off this morning with a salute to Mr. Fernandez and his family, and to send our condolences and our heartfelt sympathies to the entire Marlins organization and this tragic loss. This was not something alcohol related. This was just a tragic accident, and the details will come out, I'm sure, in the next few days how they crashed. But it's just a tragedy, and again, our heartfelt sympathies go out to Major League Baseball and Jose Fernandez. Okay, on to other things this morning. As we told you, last night was good news coming from Knoxville. The Knoxville city has not seen this much excitement since Lane Kiffin left in the middle of the night. And I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. But yeah, we actually celebrated a little bit last night. And Tennessee came back, roared back to beat the Gators 38-28. They were down 21-0 at one point in the first half. Kicked a field goal there to go into the halftime locker room 21-3, down 21-3. And Tennessee just used a stifling defense to stop a very good 19th ranked Florida Gator offense. And then Josh Dobbs just went wild in the second half. This kid, I've always had a lot of respect for him. He's handling his business right. He's been doing a great job for Tennessee. And he is, again, he's really showed last night why Butch Jones drafted him 3 years ago, and he's a senior this year, and he's going to be missed next year. But he played out of his backside last night on that field in that second half. Threw 4 touchdowns. That was a career high. 319 yards. That was a career high. A lot of that, again, was in the second half. And he settled down. His receivers had dropped 5 passes. A kid could have got down, tucked it in, and said, "We're just not going to win this year." But that is not what he came out. That's not the attitude he came out with in the second half. And Tennessee just quietly, slowly began to take control of this game. The momentum and that defense just stuffed the Gators line. In that second half, they couldn't do a thing. Sacks, short yardage plays, knockdown passes. They had an interception or two. And Tennessee finally broke a 10-year losing streak to the Gators, who I think had gotten a little arrogant. Some of the chitter-chatter on Facebook and some of these fans had gotten a little arrogant. And, I'm listening this morning for something, and, all I hear is silence coming from Gainesville, and that's the best sound in the universe, is silence in Gainesville. And there's a little silence this morning because somebody went home with their tails kicked, and we're very happy for that. And that's why we enjoy doing these podcasts. We just let it all hang out and tell you like it is. And we're just glad Tennessee kicked their tails. But 38-28 was the final. Congratulations to Butch Jones. Congratulations to this team. Watching them last night leave the field, Butch with his son and the team, just the way they were embracing this win was making me very proud. I live in Knoxville area, and being a UT fan, I definitely root for the Vols. I'm not an anti-Vol. I've had some issues with the way they've handled personnel decisions over the last several years, and felt like they pretty much spent the time in the wilderness because of them. But when it comes down to cases, my Vols are my team. They're going to be playing another one of the teams next weekend when they go down to Georgia. It's going to be a hard Saturday next Saturday. I don't know who I'm going to root for. I just hope the game ends in a tie, I guess, and we flip a coin, because I tell you, it's going to be tough. I root for Georgia and rooted for them last year, and when they came up here and lost to Tennessee. But it's going to be a good game next week. And that game next week takes on a big, big deal when it comes to Southeast Conference football, because whoever wins that game next week will probably be in the driver's seat for the SEC East again. Both teams have a pretty tough schedule ahead. We've got Alabama and Knoxville in 2 weeks. Georgia's got to go on the road, take on A&M again, and they've got to get that defense shored up. And the Georgia-Florida game then will probably could come down to who wins the East. So it's going to be a interesting October and November in the South. And we're so glad that we're part of it, because we're right here. But Florida State Seminoles bounced back. I wouldn't call it a bounce back, but they did win yesterday, 55-35 over South Florida, who has historically given the Noles a good run for their money, and they did yesterday. And that score was 55-35. And again, I'll mention this in passing. The Noles defense has got to get shored up too. Personally, I think Kelly should be gone, but that's just Chris, and we'll see how all that plays out. But we are, again, just happy for the Noles win, and we're going to leave it at that. This is the Falcons play tomorrow night against the Saints. They'll be playing on Monday Night Football against the Debate, and I'm going to be trying to watch both the Debate and the Falcons. I'm not sure which one's going to be more exciting, but I can assure you that I will be rooting for the red and black. And let's just hope Drew Brees don't throw for 600 yards against that defense. But anyway, this is the Mac Files for a Sunday morning, and again, it's September the 25th, and we're just so glad to have you. We are just one day away. We are about 36 hours roughly away from the first debate of the 2016 presidential campaign, and it's going to be a wild, wild time between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And there's so many things to talk about today. I want to mention one thing, going back to the sporting events and the pro game. The Charlotte Panthers are actually going to be hosting the Minnesota Vikings today. And I want to just give a shout out to Cam Newton today. I have watched this quarterback over the last probably 3 or 4 years. He's been in the league since 2012. And he's always had the physical skills, but he's had a really difficult time at times maturing as a player, because playing in the NFL and playing any sports professionally is more than just the physical skills that make you successful. Look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning does not have every physical skill that Cam Newton would ever have, but Peyton Manning has been the class act of football going back all the way to his days at the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville. And the reason that Peyton Manning has showed the class he has shown is because he stayed out of things that would get him in trouble, and he has always kept his business right. He's always handled his business right. He's never gotten into illegal drugs, nothing like that. He's played the game right. He's handled his life right. He's been an example and a role model for children, and that's why Peyton Manning deserves that Hall of Fame tomorrow. And Cam Newton has been a great player, but he's not always been a great person. And there have been times that he has sort of stuck his foot into some things and said some things that probably would have been better left unsaid. But I'm going to give him a huge, huge shout out today. Because, again, I'm watching this young man mature every game. I'm watching this young man mature as he grows up a little bit. And he got on the television over the weekend, Friday, since our last podcast. And he basically told the Carolina faithful, and he told the Charlotte protesters, ones that have been basically burning the city down again, or trying to, and protesting the shooting of Mr. Sutton, Levon Sutton, the 43-year-old man that had the gun out when police told him to put it down, and the black officer shot him to death. And we've done some podcast. We did a podcast about that Thursday. But Cam Newton said something that I want to reiterate, and I really appreciate what he said. And he basically told the people in Charlotte that were protesting that, you're nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. You'll protest the shooting of this black man by a police officer, but where are you protesting when there's black-on-black violence in our city? And even in Charlotte, he brought up the Charlotte situation, that Charlotte has a problem with black-on-black violence. And he mentioned Chicago in passing, but he was bringing it down to their own city. And he said, we don't see these protests when black people get shot by other black people. And he said, we've got to take a responsibility as a community, not just when something bad happens with the police, but we need to look at what we're doing as a community, a black community, to make sure the shootings don't take place between each other. Cam, way to go. And I appreciate you, buddy. I do. I really appreciate that kind of maturity and him stepping to the plate and being a voice to the black community. And I couldn't agree more. And I really appreciate that. And he's not trying to be racist. And he wasn't trying to stoke the racism and stoke the hate. He tried to be a voice of reason. And coming from him, that's huge. And I really, really appreciate that. And again, my respect for him went up a great deal this weekend. And as I said, for a player that has got the physical skills, but maybe has not always had the people skills, that's a big step for him. And I really salute him today and the entire Panther organization for the way they have handled these riots. And again, they are urging calm today during their game with Minnesota, which will take place here. It's 12 o'clock in the East within the hour. And that's going to be a big thing to watch, to see how the city handles the game here in just a little bit. But Cam, good job. And I think you're on the road. And I think he's handled the controversy with Denver, the first game of the year when they were taking some cheap shots. And folks, you'd have to be an idiot not to look at the film and see the Broncos were playing some dirty defense and hitting him in the head and stuff. And Cam could have lashed out and said this and that and the other, but he handled it with class and grace. And that's a sign of maturity of a young man that is growing up in front of our eyes. And he's always had the physical skills, always, even when he was at Auburn. And he's just, again, matured and grown up. And I would not doubt it at all if Carolina does not see a Super Bowl in that city pretty soon if he stays healthy, because of him and that defense and Ron Rivera. And I say that because, they're in the same division as my Falcons. I love my Falcons, but I'm sort of close to Carolina too. And I'm a no-nonsense kind of guy. And that's just the facts. And, they're light years ahead of the Falcons right now as far as organizational wise and the way that their organization is run. It goes down to ownership. Jerry Anderson, I think, is the owner, and Jerry Richardson is the owner, and he has got a brain, and he knows how to build a football team. And I respect Arthur Blank, but Arthur I think he micromanages everything, and he's not done a good job for the Falcons and getting personnel in there, and the way he hires coaches and general managers has not proven to be the formula for Super Bowl success. And that's just my take on it. And look, it pains me because I've been a Falcons fan since I've been a 5-year-old child. And we're still waiting for that Super Bowl ring in Atlanta. We got to one Super Bowl in 1999 and did not play well against Denver, and we haven't been back since. Carolina's been to 2, and they've not won one. They've got the tools to do it if they, again, keep Cam healthy and so forth. All righty. That's enough of the sports talk for this Sunday morning. I want to get to something else, and then I'm going to get on out of here for the weekend. As you know, we are just one day away, just one, from the first presidential debate between Donald J. Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I just want to play something that was hilariously funny. I think it came out on Friday is when this video came out. And I'm going to switch screens on you here, and I'm going to go over here. And I want you to let me get this ad off. I tell you, this YouTube thing kills me with these ads. But you're going to have to listen to an ad for about 9 seconds. And then I'm going to play you Hillary's comment about whether something she asked a question about. Candy man, because he mixes it with water, makes the world taste good. Hang on just a second. All right, here we go. All right, this is Hillary. Listen to Hillary.
And I will fight back against so-called right to work. Right to work is wrong for workers and wrong for America. Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask? Well, the choice for working families has never been clearer. I need your help to get Donald Trump's record out to everybody.
Now, is that rich or what? Is that rich? Why am I not up 50 points? Really? 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 Yeah, I think we need to play some more Rocky Top on that. I think we need to play some more Rocky Top on that, Hillary. That was funny. That was funny. I'm going to go back to my other screen here because I mean, to be honest with you, when I first saw this video, and it came on, I guess it was Friday night late.
Wrong for America.
But listen to her.
Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead? You might ask.
Why am I not 50 points ahead? I might ask.
50 points ahead, you might ask.
Let me play it again. Let me make sure
now,
she's asking.
Having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead? You might ask.
Let me just give you a few reasons why Mrs. Clinton is not 50 points ahead right now of Donald Trump. We have got, on the Democratic side, the most corrupt politician this country has ever seen in the history of politicians. We have got a candidate that has been a former senator of New York that has accomplished zilch. She cannot point to 5 things that she's done as senator that has made America any better, that has made New York any better. She has not done anything to further the cause of businesses, of the economy. She claims she's an advocate for women, yet she takes money from countries that persecute women, that behead gays, that very oppressive to women. Muslim countries that if a woman speaks out of turn, she's basically murdered or killed by her husband and allowed to do so, and the husband's justified in do it. We have a lady who back in 2008 did the infamous who you going to call at 3 o'clock in the morning, who you going to trust to call. Well, let me tell you something. There was a phone call that came at 3 o'clock in the morning. It came on the morning of September the 12th, 2012 from the Benghazi consulate, and they called for help, and there was no answer at the end of the line that Hillary Clinton was holding as Secretary of State. So, Hillary, when you ask us who do you trust at 3 o'clock in the morning, ask the people of Benghazi. I'm sure they'll give you a good answer of who they trust. We have a candidate who has systematically thumbed her nose at the rule of law, deleting emails, putting a private server in her home to do state business on. Number one, it was illegal to do. She knew better. She couldn't do that. She was not supposed to do that. Her trying to blow it off to Colin Powell and Condi Rice, claiming that they were the reason that she did this, claiming that she was the, that she got her reason for doing that from them. Is just hilariously hideous. Colin Powell has hit back, and some of his leaked emails basically was more very, very slamming her, as basically saying her mafia-like tactics on this email were very disheartening, that she was trying to push it off on him when he never told her to put that server in her house. He never told her how to do that. we have a candidate. Oh, by the way, and one thing Colin Powell did mention about Hillary, which again is going to play to, do we want 8 more years of this? He mentioned that, her husband is still blanking bimbos, and I'll just leave the blanking to your imagination. But Colin used the word, he used the word in the email. You can Google it. It starts with a D and ends with an ing. But anyway, hey, I'm just stating the facts, folks. Just stating the facts. Read the email. But anyway. And then, on top of everything else, when she got wind that the congressional hearing, during the Beganzi hearings, that they were wanting to subpoena her emails, she all of a sudden started deleting them all. 33,000 of them zipped off of her server that she claimed were about birthday parties and yoga. But, when you're deleting birthday party and yoga emails, she just didn't delete them with the delete button. She went out and got Bleach It, which is basically a server scrubbing agent. And that would, as Trey Gowdy said, even God couldn't find the emails. But I know that all those emails nothing was in those emails that were wrong at all, Hillary. They were just about birthday parties and yoga, And every time she says something, she lied. I mean, she's been like 18 different stories now that she never sent sensitive emails. She never knew that they were sensitive. She can assure you that we never did anything outside of protocol. We were given all this permission to do it. The Obama administration knew we were doing it. And word came out Friday that even President Obama had developed a pseudonym for Hillary to basically email her so they could do and correspond privately. And yet he told the American people in 60 Minutes that he had no knowledge that she was doing this server, that this was brand new news to him, that he heard about it the first time when the news media reported it. Liars hang together like peas in a pod. Liars hang together, and that's what they both are doing right now. But then let's go further into this email. What do these emails probably contain? Well, you have something called the Clinton Foundation. And during the time that Mrs. Clinton was Secretary of State, that there has been a documented path, a documented history of that there was a lot of countries that were donating into the Clinton Foundation, a lot of Muslim-friendly countries, a lot of oppressive countries, millions and millions of dollars. And the feeling is that those donations to the Clinton Foundation were in exchange for a pay-to-play scheme with the Clinton State Department while she was Secretary of State. Now, of course, the Clintons are denying all this. Oh, no, none of that's true. All you right-wing conspiracy people, it's just another right-wing conspiracy. And that's what she's been saying. And that nose just keeps on getting longer, and more lies, and more stuff. And then we find out the other day that her IT guy that put the server in had actually consulted Reddit, which is a server deleting company, to ask the specific question. And this came out in the hearings on Congressional Hill just this week, that the purpose of his comments to Reddit, or his questions to Reddit, was that they wanted to find out how to delete VIP information, very important information. And of course, in Hillary's statement, though, that was no VIP information on that server. It was just birthday parties and yoga. And then we had the issue about her comments about Donald Trump supporters and her smug, arrogant, elitist attitude here about 2 or 3 weeks ago in a campaign event, talking to a bunch of elite liberal assholes. Sorry, don't have no better word for them. That's what they are. A lot of actors. Streisand was there. Hollywood elites that make more money than most people listening to this podcast do put together, who look down their nose on modern America and traditional America, and they are out there in Hollywood in their palaces of gold and ivory. She basically gets on that stage and she says people that support Donald Trump are a basket of deplorables. And she didn't call Donald Trump that. She called the American voters that. She was speaking of cops. She was speaking of border agents. She was speaking of middle-class Americans, a lot of people that are just trying to support their families. She was speaking of black people, folks. Look, Donald Trump may not be winning the black vote, but there are black people that support Donald Trump. There are a number of black people individually, conservative people, that see the difference in the two candidates. They're supporting him. She was calling them deplorable too. She was calling Hispanics deplorable. Anybody that supports Trump, she said, is in a basket of deplorables. And again, calling him racist, calling him bigot, calling him misogynist, all these things. But not one time telling the American people any of the things that she's done wrong, denying all that she's done wrong. And then there was the 9/11 ceremony in New York. when she catches pneumonia, supposedly, and has this fainting spell, and then all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, is seen leaving Chelsea's apartment looking like she's ready to do yoga, pardon the pun, and birthday parties. Lies. Just complete lies. Everything she says is lies. Half-truths, lies, and then this video surfaces, which I really, truly, folks, when I saw this video, I thought it was a parody. I thought Saturday Night Live was doing something funny. And then I realized she was speaking to unions and actually was acting like this and saying like this. And again, I'll play it again. Let you listen to it.
Said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask? Well, the choice for working families has never been clearer. I need your help to get Donald Trump's record out to everybody.
Let me tell you about Donald Trump's record for everybody, folks. Donald Trump don't have a record of corruption. Donald Trump has been a businessman. Donald Trump has established businesses all over the world, all over the country. He's hired minorities. He's hired Hispanics. He's hired people of other races. There's not been one call of Donald Trump being a racist in 25 to 30 years of his business dealings in this world, all over this world. The only time that Donald Trump has ever been called racist has been within the last 12 months when he started running against this machine right here that you're looking at on my screen down below me here. When he started running against her.
Fooled.
Ooh, excuse me. I accidentally hit the play button. Scared me to death. Nobody should be fooled, she says. Let me tell you something. Nobody should be fooled. Nobody should be fooled. You've got a career corrupt politician running against a businessman that has basically come out and gave a pro-American message with one thing that he's saying. He's wanting to put America first. Now, she's going to dig up dirt. She's going to try to get him flustered tomorrow night. She's going to try to get him off his game. And it's not going to be about the issues. I can tell you right now, this debate tomorrow night will not be about issues. It will be about her trying to get Donald Trump to say something stupid and trying to get him to act misogynist, to act sexist, and you know, she's inviting Mark Cuban to sort of be her front row hump buddy or whatever you call it, and you know, getting Donald Trump's face. Let me tell you something. That is petty, white trash, trailer trash type stuff at a debate. This should not be about getting somebody to sit in the audience to taunt another candidate. Hillary, if you're a serious candidate for president, debate the issues. Debate the issues. If you want to know why you're not 50 points ahead, people see through your BS. And for those of you not from South Georgia that do not know what BS is, inbox me and I will tell you what that means. We see through it. The American people see through it. That's why you're not up 50 points. That's why you're not up 10 points. And in many of these battleground states, you're losing. Now, we're about a month and some change away from the election, actual election. This month of October is going to be a telltale sign, the tale of the tape, so to speak. We got 3 debates plus the vice presidential debate. It's going to start tomorrow night. Round 1 is tomorrow night. Probably going to be the most watched debate in American history. And they said that Kennedy-Nixon gained 66 million. Carter-Reagan, the first one, gained 80 million. This one probably will top that one tomorrow night. And it's going to be well worth your effort and time to watch it. I'm going to play this back one more time, and then I'm going to wrap this up today. But you got to listen to this again. This is good stuff. Listen to this.
For workers and wrong for America. Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask? Well, the choice for working families has never been clearer.
I want to stop it right there. The choice for working families has never been clearer. I ask you a question out there, working family. Are you better off than you were 8 years ago? Are you better off today than you were 8 years ago under the Obama economy? Because she's running on that hope that you're going to sit back and think everything is great with our economy today. Obama's done a great job these last 8 years with this economy. She is trying to tell unions that. We're going to maybe do a podcast on the right to work issue for those of you that don't understand it, because it is a little complicated, and maybe we'll mention that next week, because she was speaking to unions when she was doing this. But her question is, why am I not up by 50 points? Just reeks of the elitist arrogance and the elitist attitude she's always had. She's condescending to the American voter, condescending to America, basically looking at us and saying, why aren't you putting me in the lead of this man, Donald J. Trump? And it's something that Hillary has not gotten. It's something the Republican establishment has not gotten. It's something the Democrats are freaking out about right now. They're in panic mode because the American public are piss poor tired of career politicians and the direction we've been going in this country. And if she wants to get on top of Barack Obama and grab his coattail and get on that camera tomorrow night and say everything's been great and I'm just going to carry on like we've been carrying on, let her do it. Because, folks, things are about to come to an abrupt end, and an abrupt end soon in this election, and she's going to get the message of why.
And wrong for America. Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
She's going to find out in just a few weeks. All righty, back to me. And that is the Mac Files, a special Sunday edition on this September the 25th, 2016. I wished we had more time. And we're just learning this. This is our brand new canvas. We hope you like it. We hope you like the video feed that we gave you. We're working on this, and this we're trying to figure out some new things how to do with this, and hopefully the quality will pick up a little bit. But as we go out today, I just want to say a few things. I want to say thank you to our listeners. We have had some folks that have been very, very faithful listeners, and they always tell us each day, each week when they listen to the podcast, they hear it and they really appreciate the things we say. Kathy Long, thank you. Mike Long, thank you. Kathy and Mike both are dear friends, sweet friends, and they have been a very helpful encouragement, Kathy, especially to this podcast. Joy Adams Santos, she is just been a tremendous friend too, and so forth. And I just want to say thank you again to her. She asked me the other day, she said, when you're running for president, the answer to that is never. I am never running for president. No. Let Donald Trump do that. That is fine, even though the country would never be the same about 2 weeks in, trust me. But anyway, thank you, Jim Holton, for the encouragement to do this in the beginning. He was the one that kept saying, you need to do a podcast, you need to do a podcast. And I want to save this last one, not that I hope I hadn't missed anybody. There's been a lot of you, but Carol Bolton, my art teacher, when I was just a little snot-nosed freshman kid at Bainbridge High School back in 1979. Miss Carol was my first art teacher, and it's been so good to reconnect with her, and we just appreciate her and her encouragement every day. She said she listens to my podcast in the morning for breakfast, and then I'm sure she has to go puke after that, and not for the breakfast, but for the podcast. But anyway, that's a little joke. I like having a little humor to it. But look, we appreciate all those of you that are listening and that have encouraged us and that have helped us along the way. These podcasts are evolving. We're trying to do a little bit more. As I said, we've got a new layout here. We've got a new broadcast mechanism, and we hope that this is going to make it a little bit easier for us to integrate tools and video and clips and give you more information and make it a better presentation. All righty, that will do it. I can't help but going out again this morning on this. And on that note, we say goodbye. Jennifer Swanner, by the way, that was for you. I love you, sis, but that one was for you, my Florida Gator sister fan. But anyway, we'll do it for the Mac Files on this Sunday afternoon now on September the 25th, 2016. We salute you. We'll be back on tomorrow with a pre-debate broadcast, and then we'll hopefully do one tomorrow night late after the debate. And then Tuesday, we'll do a full summary of some of the high points and low points that we felt were both candidates' high points and low points, and discuss it in detail with you. And we'll be keeping you abreast of the situation in Charlotte. And there's some other news that we wish we could get to today, but we don't have time, and we'll deal with that this week as we go forward. Again, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you, and we hope that you have a great Sunday. Godspeed. God bless America, and have a great afternoon, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Mac Files. Bye-bye.